The city of San Francisco, California, was alive with its usual rhythm, streets glowing with the light of passing cars, the faint scent of the ocean mixing with fresh coffee drifting out of late-night cafes, and the sound of footsteps echoing across sidewalks where history and modern life met every day. Among the tall glass buildings and narrow alleys lined with bookstores, Emily Carter lived a life she thought was ordinary. Yet she never realized how a single smile could change everything she believed about love, destiny, and trust. Emily was 23, with a love for reading that kept her nights long and her mornings quiet. She worked at a small independent bookstore on Grant Avenue, a shop called Harbor Lights Books, where the scent of old paper mingled with fresh ink. Her boss, Mr. Thompson, was kind, and the regular customers always greeted her warmly. But beneath her polite smile, Emily often felt something was missing. She longed for a story of her own, something that would carry her heart beyond the pages she stacked every day. On a rainy Thursday evening, while she arranged books in the window, she noticed a young man standing outside, holding no umbrella, yet not seeming to mind the rain. His dark hair was plastered to his forehead, his jacket soaked, but what caught her attention was the way he smiled as he looked inside. Not a broad grin, not forced, but the kind of smile that carried warmth even through glass. Emily froze for a moment, caught between curiosity and the odd flutter in her chest. When she finally unlocked the door and motioned for him to come in, he stepped inside, brushing rainwater from his shoulders. "Thanks," he said, his voice carrying a gentle calmness. "I didn't mean to stare through the window. Your display looked inviting." Emily laughed softly, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. "That's what I'm supposed to do, make people curious enough to come in." He extended his hand, his smile deepening. "I'm Daniel Brooks." She hesitated, then shook his hand. "Emily Carter, welcome to Harbor Lights Books." From that moment, something subtle shifted. Daniel didn't just buy a book and leave. He asked questions about the authors, about Emily's favorites, about why she worked there instead of pursuing something else. Their conversation stretched beyond closing time, and for the first time in years, Emily forgot to check the clock. Over the next few weeks, Daniel became a regular. He was a software engineer working downtown, but his heart seemed drawn more toward stories than codes. Each visit, he carried that same warm smile, the one Emily couldn't shake from her thoughts even after he left. Soon, coffee runs turned into long walks by the bay, where the Golden Gate Bridge rose in the background like a silent witness to their growing bond. But not everything about Daniel was clear. He avoided certain questions: where exactly he grew up, why he had moved to San Francisco so suddenly, and why sometimes he looked over his shoulder as though someone might be following him. Emily noticed but didn't press, convincing herself that everyone had parts of their lives they weren't ready to share. One evening, as the fog rolled in heavy over the city, Daniel asked Emily if she trusted him. She laughed nervously, trying to hide how much the question startled her. "Why would you ask that?" she said. "Because sometimes trust comes before explanations," he replied, his eyes holding hers in a way that made her chest tighten. That night, Emily couldn't sleep. She replayed his words, wondering what secrets he carried. And yet, deep inside, she knew something unexplainable. She trusted him, though she didn't know why. Days turned into months, and Emily found herself falling for him more than she ever intended. His smile wasn't just something that lit up a rainy evening anymore. It became the reason her heart beat faster whenever her phone buzzed with his name. But just as she began to believe she had found the story she'd always longed for, the first twist appeared. Late one night after closing the bookstore, Emily noticed a figure standing across the street, a man in a gray coat staring directly at her. When she locked the door and turned to leave, he vanished into the alley. Uneasy, she hurried home, only to find Daniel waiting at her apartment steps. His usual calmness was replaced by urgency. "Emily," he said, pulling her aside, "if anyone ever asks about me, anyone you don't know, you have to say you barely know me." Confused and frightened, she demanded answers. Daniel finally sighed and told her the truth. He had once worked for a private security firm, the kind that dealt with dangerous corporations and guarded information most people never knew existed. He had uncovered corruption, money laundering, fraud, things that reached powerful figures. When he tried to expose it, they silenced him, forcing him to run. Emily's world spun. The man she trusted, the man whose smile